Hey, freaks. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by NatureBox.com. NatureBox is a fantastic company. All their stuff is real, and it's all good stuff. No artificial flavors of any kind, no artificial sugars or anything. It's all real stuff, and it's all real good. Also, I have a great deal for you guys. If you go to naturebox.com, use the promo code SHARE10 off. That code is SHARE10 off. You will get $10 off of your first box. And let me tell you something. It's a great product and it's a great line, and I absolutely endorse them 100%. We're also brought to you by Amazon.com. If you want to help the show out and you also want to buy something from Amazon, here's what you do. You go to our website, lookingbackpodcast.com. Lookingbackpodcast.com. And you click the Amazon banner on the front page, and that takes you to Amazon.com, where out of whatever you buy, they send back a small percentage to me. Also, we're brought to you by PayPal. I love saying it like that. PayPal. If you want to donate directly to the podcast, there are two ways of doing that. There's a one-time donation. There's also a monthly donation. Monthly donation has a lot of great perks. You can help create content with the podcast. You can help come up with ideas, topics that you want to hear discussed, new series ideas. Just to kind of get the word out, to help get the word out about the podcast. Just some perks I'm going to be working on in the next couple of weeks. So definitely check that out. If you want to donate, go right ahead. There's no set amount. Like I said, there's a one-time, there's also a monthly donation option there as well. And with that, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. And let's start the show.
There goes the neighborhood.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Looking Back. We are continuing and hopefully finishing our series on the Republic of Rome before we get into the Empire. And I wanted to conclude the whole thing about the Republic by talking about the politics of the Roman Republic, because the politics plays a very important role in creating the empire. Um, so I kind of wanted to get into that a little bit before we really get into the meat and potatoes of what Rome and the Roman Empire was. Um, so let's just get right into it. Talk about the politics of the Roman Republic. The Constitution of the Roman Republic was an unwritten set of guidelines and principles passed down mainly through precedent. It wasn't formal, it wasn't even official, it was largely unwritten, uncodified, and constantly evolving. The Senate's ultimate authority came from the esteem and the prestige of the senators. The esteem and prestige was based on both precedent and custom, as well as the high caliber and prestige of the senators. The Senate passed decrees which were called Senatus Consulta. This was officially advice from the Senate to a magistrate. In practice, however, these were usually obeyed by the magistrates. The focus of the Senate was usually directed towards foreign policy. Though it technically had no official role in the management of military conflict, the Senate ultimately was the force that oversaw such affairs. The power of the Senate was expanded over time as the power of the legislative assemblies declined and the Senate took a larger role in ordinary lawmaking. Its members were usually appointed by Roman censors, who usually selected newly elected magistrates for membership into the Senate. making the Senate a de facto elected body. During times of military crises, military emergencies, such as the civil wars of the 1st century BC, this practice became less prevalent, as the Roman dictator, the triumvir, or the Senate itself, would elect its members. The legal status of Roman citizenship was limited and was a vital prerequisite to possessing many important legal rights, such as the right to trial and the right to appeal, to marry, to vote, to hold office, to enter binding contracts, etc. An adult male citizen with the full complement of legal and political rights was called optimo jure. The optimo jure elected their assemblies, whereupon the assemblies elected magistrates. They enacted legislation. They presided over capital cases, not to be confused with lower cases. They, they declared war and peace, and they forged or dissolved treaties. There were two types of legislative assemblies. The first was the committee, known as the comitia, which were assemblies of all optimo jure. The second was the concilia, or the councils, which were assemblies of specific groups of optimo jure. Citizens were organized on the basis of centuries and tribes, which would each gather in their own assembly. The century assembly, known as the Comitia Centuria, was the assembly of the centuries, the soldiers. The president of the Comitia Centuriata was usually a consul, and the centuries would vote one at a time until a measure received support from a majority. It would elect magistrates who had imperium powers, and it also elected censors. Only the Comitia Centuriata could declare war and ratify the results of a census. It also served as the highest court of appeal in certain judicial cases. The Assembly of the Tribes, the Comitia Tributa, was presided over by a consul. It was composed of 33 tribes. The tribes were not ethnic or kinship groups, but rather geographical subdivisions. The order that the 35 tribes would vote in was elected and selected randomly by lot. Once a measure received support from a majority of the tribes, the voting would end. And when it did not pass many laws, the Comitia Tributa did elect quaestors and representatives. The plebeian council was identical to the assembly of the tribes, but excluded the patricians, the elite, who could trace their ancestry to the founding of Rome. They elected their own officers, the plebeian tribunes and the plebeian aediles. Usually a plebeian tribune would preside over the assembly, and the assembly passed most laws and could also act as a court of appeal. Each republican magistrate held certain constitutional powers. Only the people of Rome had the right to confer these powers on any individual magistrate. The most powerful constitutional power was imperium. Imperium was held by both consuls and praetors. It gave a magistrate the authority to command a military force. All magistrates also had the power of coercion. This was used by magistrates to maintain public order, and while in Rome, all citizens had a judgment against coercion. This protection was called provocatio. Magistrates also had the power and duty to look for omens. This power was often used to obstruct political opponents. The consuls of the Roman Republic were the highest ranking ordinary magistrates, each consul serving for a year. They had supreme power in both civil and military matters, and while in the city of Rome, they were the head of the Roman government. They would preside over the Senate and the assemblies, and while abroad, each consul would command an army. His authority abroad would be nearly absolute. Praetors administered civil law and commanded provincial armies. Every 5 years, two censors were elected for an 18-month term during which they would conduct a census. During the census, they would enroll citizens in the Senate or purge them from the Senate. Aediles were officers elected to conduct domestic affairs in Rome, such as managing public games and shows. The quaestors usually assist the consuls in Rome and the governors in the province, and their duties were often financial. Since the tribunes were considered to be the embodiment of the plebeians, they were sacrosanct. Their sacrosancticity was enforced by a pledge taken by the plebeians to kill any person who harmed or interfered with the tribune during his term of office. All of the powers of the tribune derived from their sacrosanctity. Let's try that again. Sacrosanctity. Ah, there we go. One consequence was that it was considered a capital offense to harm a tribune, to disregard his veto, or to interfere with the tribune. In times of military emergency, a dictator would be appointed for a term of 6 months. Constitutional government would be absolved, and the dictator would be the absolute master of the state. When the dictator's term ended, constitutional government would be restored. And there you have it. That is the politics of the Roman Republic. The next episode, we will get right into the meat and potatoes of what, in my opinion, is the most entertaining aspect of Rome, the Roman Empire. So keep your eyes open. Check out the blog, lookingbackpodcast.com. Also, if you want to buy something from Amazon, go there as well. The link is in the description box below. On the front page of the website, again, lookingbackpodcast.com, there is a little button that says Amazon. You click that button and it'll take you right to Amazon.com. And what that does is that whatever you buy, a small percentage comes back to me, and it would really, really help out. Also, if you wish to donate directly to the podcast, that link is also on the front page. Just look for the donate button that is under the link to the Looking Back YouTube page and the Looking Back Facebook page. What you do there is, and I'm doing this right as I'm talking to you click the donate button. What that does is that takes you directly to the Looking Back Podcast PayPal page. And you can put a one-time donation, or if you wish to make a recurring donation, recurring being monthly, that option is available as well. And it would really help the podcast out. Looking to hopefully get my hands on a different microphone and just some really cool things that will help the podcast out a great deal. So, um, lookingbackpodcast.com. The link is in the description box below. Click the Amazon banner, or not the banner, the Amazon button. And when you want to buy something from Amazon, they send back a little bit of money my way. Really, really helps me out. Also, the donate to PayPal, the PayPal button, that's available there as well on the front page. Just look for that donate button. And yeah, it's gonna be kind of cool. I can't wait to see where we go from here. Um, the podcast is, quite frankly, it's because of you guys, and there is no way that I would be able to do this without your support. So please consider giving a financial support to the podcast if you're able to. There's no pressure there whatsoever. And keep an eye out for some pretty cool things going to be coming to the Looking Back podcast website. I will have a link, like if I'm talking about a topic, and this will be for future episodes. I don't know if I have anything for this one, um, but I'm going to have a page on the site devoted just to documentaries, historical documentaries. I might even split them up into topics. Um, Thinking about revamping some old episodes and just kind of redoing them. So we'll just see where we go from there. This is going to be a work in progress, so definitely, like I said before, keep your eyes open and definitely bookmark the website lookingbackpodcast.com and see what have a look around. If you have a question, there's a contact me form on the website. Um, just any question you have, show idea, suggestion, if you think I suck, I mean, literally anything. This is all about you guys. So, lookingbackpodcast.com. If you want to shop on Amazon, click that Amazon button. Takes you directly to Amazon.com like always, but they send back a little bit of money my way, and I know I've repeated this. Just want to make sure I get it out there. Also, the PayPal page, you hit that donate button, takes you directly to the Looking Back PayPal page. One-time donation, a monthly donation, anything and everything will be greatly appreciated. And with that, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And until next time, take care of yourself and each other. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.